What is good, guys? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one I'm going to give you guys an intraday update on Tesla and SPY and the QQQ, break down what happened in the morning to the market and why the market got this very big pump after about 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern time, and what's happening with the market right now and what levels you should be watching for. Before I break anything down about this video, before I talk about what's happening with Tesla and everything like that, let me just mention a couple of things real quick. Firstly, I am not a financial planner. Make sure you take none of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. And finally, don't forget about the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. Put in $100 in your guaranteed up to 10 free stocks. Anyways, now let's talk about the markets. What on earth is going on? Well, in the morning, I told you guys about how we had a lot of data coming out today, and that could cause a lot of volatility in the markets. I warned you guys earlier, yesterday, that Tesla had this bearish divergence that developed. You could see right here on the RSI. And as a result of that, it caused Tesla to sell off by the time we opened. So Tesla went from 221 all the way down to 212.5. And that's very close to the zone I called out if 214 broke. So 214 broke on Tesla. It came all the way down to the next major level, which is 212.5. And Tesla bounced at exactly 212.53, so about 3 cents off the support, very, very close. And we got this nice bounce after that. And after Tesla broke above 214, that would have been a signal for profit taking. And then we'd just be very patient after that. I told you guys expect a lot of volatility after the big data came out. Now, in the larger time frames, Tesla was looking a little bit weaker, and so was the QQQ. So I was very apprehensive. I personally was not expecting it to pump this hard, but that's very awesome to witness. That's because of the fact that the economic data was pretty good. And I warned you guys that if Tesla broke 218, then we could see it pump a lot better. But I wasn't really leaning that direction because of what we were seeing in the morning with this sell off and also a lot of choppy price action. Instead, Tesla, once again, outperformed and did very, very well. And the market is trying to pump at the time I'm recording this. So I'm going to break down what levels to watch for now and what the technicals are telling us. But first, let's talk about the data. So at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern time, right? The data came out. The Economic Optimism Index report came out. It came out at 41.7, which is above the forecast of 40. And on top of that, the previous report was at 41.6. That tells us that the optimism for the economy has increased. So we're starting to see more positive outlooks for the economy. This is leading to a very positive reaction from the markets, at least for the time being. The market liked this and the market started pumping. And because there's so many shorts in the market, many of them started to cover their positions, especially on Tesla, as we saw over 55 plus million shares shorted very recently. Now, what happened to Tesla was Tesla started pumping. It came all the way up to this 218 resistance. And what happened was we broke above it, and that was a very bullish signal. We also got this crossover in the 30-minute. This happened just a couple of minutes after, or I would say about an hour afterwards. And then Tesla started pumping even harder to about 221. So now Tesla's looking pretty decent. What are some levels to watch for? It's very important to make these adjustments that I have to make because, like I said before, sometimes it's very hard to read what the market's going to do. Like when it comes to every single move intraday, when you're trying to predict it like the day before, because there's so many little swings and pieces of data that could change the analysis in a flash. That's why it's important to learn how to read these indicators in real time and watch based off what data is supposed to come out. So now let's talk about Tesla. What level are you going to be watching for? Now that it's holding up quite nicely, we're going to be watching this 218 zone as support to 217. Notice how it's holding this level very nicely. It's just going back and forth between 218 to 221. This is your zone. 221 is going to be resistance. Now, if it breaks this resistance, we're going to see Tesla hit 222.74. And if that breaks, once again, if that manages to break, you're going to be watching 225 to 225 to 226, followed by 226.95 to about 227, 228.6, followed by 230, which is going to be strong resistance. However, we're not going to talk about 230 until we break 221 at least, and we still need to wait for confirmation for that to happen. However, the market right now is very mixed, so we'll have to watch where it moves simultaneously. If Tesla does break down, the bears are going to be watching I would say about 3 levels. First, 218 is acting as support. If that fails, we have the 217 to 216.5 zone. If that fails, then it's going to go back down to 214. However, Tesla's holding above 218 so far, so we're going to watch these levels carefully. Now, when I watch the charts, let me just remind you guys that I'm not just looking at one time frame, like the 30 minutes. I would simultaneously look at a bunch of these different time frames. So I'd be looking at Tesla on the different charts. Let me just bring it up right here. And I'd be watching, the 5 minute, for example, the 3 minutes, and switch between them as confirmation. Right now, we're about to get a bullish cross. We're getting very close to a bullish cross in the 5 minutes, so it's holding up nicely. And simultaneously, if you look at the PPO right now, it's very mixed, but it's still holding up all right on Tesla. Now, for SPY, I'm going to switch back to one screen, by the way, so it's easier to see. For SPY, we're holding above some major support at this 427.5 area. We're trying to hold around it. Now it's trying to reject, but like I said before, we're just trying very hard. If it manages to break and hold 427.5, we need a very long hold above it, especially on the 30-minute time frame. There's going to be a good chance of this thing making an attempt to pump to this 428.5 area. Now on SPY, we got this sell-off, but it bounced off this 426 support in the morning. This is the level I was talking about. And we saw this thing continuing to pump after the economic data came out. I told you guys that if it broke above 427.5, we're going to be watching 428.5. It got the breakout, and then it got rejected exactly at 428.45, so very close. Now it's been trading sideways between 427.5 to 428.5 for an extended period of time, but momentum is slowing a little bit on the 30-minute time frame for now. But it needs to hold above 427.5 for there to be more hope for the bulls, for it to continue to have hope to continue pushing. And for now, it's gaining some hope because it's trying to hold 427.5 for the time being. Now, once again, I used the 30-minute just to talk about what the trend is right now, and that's been working very well. Always remember that you have to be able to adjust in the markets, and it's important to look at different time frames as well. If you look at the 5 minute, it's about to get a bullish cross, so it's once again looking quite nice, but it has to hold 47.5 at the very least for an extended period of time. And once we get a lot of bullish signals that continue from here, things will look a lot better for it moving forward. Now, don't forget we have this resistance, and we failed to break all the way up to this 429 to 430 area. So like I said before, even if we do get a breakout, we have some heavy resistance ahead of us, and I would be very careful. It looks very sideways for the time being. I'm expecting a bigger move by the time we get to power hour. So just watch the levels for the time being. I mean, it's very easy to read this, like it's more easy to read this on like a intraday basis, just looking at it in real time. It is trickier to predict it for like the more longer term. But overall, there is a risk of a slowdown to come later on, seeing how overbought SPY is alongside many other stocks. But it's just that it's taking a while to get any confirmation of it actually downtrending, and it's just continuing to trade sideways, and it's trying to hold up based off some data. So for that reason, it's very important to be patient and wait to see how this goes. Let me also add that for the QQQ, 30-minute time frame is very flat. It's not really doing too much. It broke above resistance at this 354 zone. Since that broke, the next level to watch was 355.5. It got rejected just a little bit above that at 355.81. To turn really bullish, it has to hold 356, break 356 and hold it, and this thing's going to go flying up to 357.5 to 358. If anything, it's just above 354. For support, watch 354 and then 353. Those are some very important levels. This zone right here has a lot of support, and if it does end up breaking below 353, we got a false break in the morning, but it bounced right back up just to trigger stops. If 353 breaks, you could see how important that level is. This thing is going to get a big rug pull. Now, it is a little concerning is there is a possible head and shoulders developing on the QQQ, but it has to break and hold below 353, not just like touch it and bounce right back up. I mean, an extended period of time with the strong a candle that shows it holding below 353, a strong bearish looking candle, that's going to give us confirmation of it breaking down. For now, we're not getting that, and it looks like it's just continuing to range trade. It looks like that's what this is going to continue to do for an extended period of time until we get a bigger catalyst to move the markets. But for now, like I said, Tesla is trying to turn. It's now above the 220 area. And we're going to be watching this resistance at 221. So watch that very carefully. Let's see if Tesla can try to break this. If it fails to break it, just expect it to range trade again. And it is a little boring to see that happen, but for now, it's looking pretty decent. I'm liking how Tesla's looking. I'm going to remain very patient in the meantime. All right. So Like I said before, economic data comes out that's not always, very predictable. And sometimes the market makes these unexpected moves. But that's why it's very important to watch support and resistance levels. It's extremely important to look at confirmation. And it's very important to not be too greedy in a market like this. Patience is key. Let me just also add that Neo, for example, is getting a breakout. I called this out in the morning. I told you guys I'm really liking Neo. It got a false breakout, a false crash in the morning, basically, and got a nice rebound afterwards. I'm going to be watching this thing approach $8 very soon. Still have that target in mind. It may take over the next couple of days. It should happen approaching earnings. Apple's a little bit weak for now. Nvidia, it's still at 385, not looking that bad. It's still okay. It broke down below this wedge. It could get a retest soon, though, before it continues to do anything else. And it is looking a little weak overall, but not extremely bad. Still not extremely bad. It's still a 385. So we'll see what happens in Nvidia. It got a big sharp sell-off before bouncing right back. And it did break below the wedge, so I'd be very careful with it. But it could make an attempt to try to make its way up to retest this area. All right, but anyways, that's what I have for this video. Just wanted to note all of this stuff. The market is once again continuing to range trade. We're not really trending too far down or too far up. It's just once again going back and forth and back and forth. So watch the levels for confirmation. Get ready. Tesla's currently it was fighting 220. Now it's a little bit below it, but that's fine. I'd be watching it on like the smaller time frames, by the way, if you want to scalp like the 3 minute or the 5 minute simultaneously. And until then, I'll see you guys in a later video. Watch these levels very carefully and just be very, very patient in a market like this. All right, guys, thank you for listening. Have an absolutely spectacular rest of the day. Remain calm, cool, and collected, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you, and peace out.